Welcome back to Nightingale's Motorcycles, Restorers and Metal Finishers. Right, a lot of emails, a lot of comments and some new subscribers, which is fantastic. We're going to carry on. This is going to be video 3, a beginner's guide to restoration. So I've said on 1 and 2, just hold back with some of the things I'm saying, because remember, I'm coming back into things which people are just learning. So, they're probably following it through. So one of the videos you saw me working on this Merlin engine, which was a customer's. If you're just coming onto it now and watching video 3, so it'll either been in video 2 or 1. It's a Merlin engine, 350 single off a trials bike. Customers brought it in, competent rider, had loads of trials bike, ridden all his life. Bought it, delivered up to him, rode it round the garden, taken the engine out, brought everything in. The frame went on a video the other night, which had powder coated and zinced and done everything to it. So what we did was we stripped the head off and the barrel, which I showed in video 2 or 1. And it all come together real easy. So, it had been thrown back together for a reason. It had no base gasket on it, just silicone sealer. So we guessed that then they'd taken it off. The ball looks good. Piston looks good. Obviously, we'd have a new set of rings on it, but there was a slight bit on the conrod and definitely something on the main. So at the end of the day, it really needs to come apart. So the reason I'm going back on the Merlin engine is and into restoration, it's because you could be at home now when you've got a similar situation where you've stripped an engine down, or you stripped the bike down, you bought it running and you didn't think it needed that much doing to it. And we find problems like this, that, it's got an internal problem. So it's all expense. And as I said, in the videos 1, 2 and 3 of restoration, I'm going 1 being the guy who turns up with one outside and just got a rough old bike, a classic bike with patina on it, which is fantastic. 2's that broad sector, a restoration, and 3's concourse, which is another league, which we'll get back up into that later on. So back to this engine, I showed the gear lever had gone at some point when it's been changing up or down. It's fell over and it's gone through the casing. So I was showing you, or telling you I was going to repair that. And because we weren't going to ceramic coat it, because we don't have the luxury of a primer, I was going to zinc coat it and then give it a ice satin powder coat, smooth, which I've done that. So I'll show you the casing, what I've done to it. There's a few photographs now. I'll come in and going through the stages and then where I'm at now. So the situation was it had harpooned all this into the casing right through. So as you say, I've warmed it up, I've tapped them all back out, all the cracks, everything. And I haven't actually filled this. The crack is on the inner side where the stator is. So it would have let water in. There was no signs of water coming in, but I think it was just because it was sitting pretty high. So if I do you a close-up then of the repair, so it was all smashed in here, completely gone. So all pushed out now, all done. And that's one part ready to go back on the bike. I haven't actually put any metal filler in it. I diamond grinded it over, meshed it together, zinced it, powder, and then top coated it with a satin. And it's come out really nice. Probably be hard to see repair on that. I've taken the cut down, you see, once you bring it out. It's like when I do restoration of fork legs and you see nasty dimples in the bottom of the fork legs and scuffs, or road bikes, off-road, like motocross bikes. I start halfway up and we work down with a belt sander, so you're taking it down. When you look at a 1 mil indentation in a fork leg and you went at it, you only think you're going to make it oval or like a dimple, but we take it from halfway up. But you've probably seen some of them on the video. So the main thing is we're still on the Merlin engine, still restoration. And that's wherever you are based in the country and you find similar to me, could do that kind of, especially when you're 40 odd year old and you can't get the parts. So if we was putting that back together now, we'd be happy with that. That's the start of it. So the next thing is is a clutch housing assembly. So we'll get a close-up of it. So we've got a little bit on here. It's a little bit oval on clutch. It's stripped back. We're going to degrease it. A few scratches and dings and whatever over it. So I think what we're going to do again is we're going to degrease this. Couple of little dings in it. Degrease it. We'll get it ultra fine blasted. Have a look at everything. We always just check the faces at this time. You never know if anyone's had a screwdriver in. So at this time I might as well put it right. And then we're going to zinc that. Top coat it powder coat zinc. And then I'll probably just go over just this bit. I might even take that off and shine that back up yet. I'll just leave it for now. We might even paint them in with one of our ceramic pens. So that'll be the next thing you'll see. So finally, the barrel and the head. So this could be self at home. So as I say, I pull the barrel and head off it, and we saw this massive crack, which you can see again. I've shown it once, but I'll show it again. Right. Now, I said to him I'd actually put a new fin on this and micropin it. Don't get the luxury of 4mm, usually, to micropin. I'm working on something like that, 2mm, where we're using jet drills to put in, pin over, put the fin back on. And if it had a mockle finish, then I said, and I will be doing some, I'd do a latex transfer and put it over there. You wouldn't need it with this one because it's inside, but we could make that a brand new fin. Now, a customer doesn't want to go ahead with it. This will be the kind of thing, you know, when I say Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3 in restoration, if we're restoring it to concourse or a nice middle 2, you know, when you've stripped it down, that wouldn't be passable. I won't put it back together, but I've said that's just myself. So the lucky thing is the exhaust runs under here, so he's going to get away with it. I've taken the rubbers out, just the vibration. I've left one in there, vibration rubbers. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, the customer's decided again, because we did, that was a test sample. So that was just taken off with light oxide. So he was going to have it ceramic coated, which we do a really nice black velvet, which looks factory. But now he wants it ultra fine oxide in, vapor blasting, checking right back, and then leave it at that. So we'll see. We'll do this, prep it, do it all. Just before we put it in the machine, though, I'll just show you a few bits. The corners, the edges. So what we'll do is once we've blasted it with ultra fine oxide, we'll bring it out, we'll put the diamonds on it, tidy these edges up, and then vapor blast it. So I'll show you the process of that on pictures. So the cylinder head's the same. If you look at it close up, you're going to see it close up now. Then I'll do you some pictures and then the final video when it's done. So fortunately, everything looks good. Once we've taken it back, got rid of all this and all this close up, get this back to brand spanking new, all this done and back, then that's going to be vapor blasted as well. Little things like I said to you, when you look at, we'll just go across to this little machine here, and you see a base gasket lying in there. Now what happens is, when you go to restoration, when people say about having engines, take it out and just blast it complete, it does get in, it does oxide. You're doing half a job because you can't you can't spray over the gaskets, because you can if you do it aerosol at home and you're working around it, or if someone wanted me to do it. But the idea is that when you blast an engine as well, you've got a base gasket, and you're probably going to rough that up and make it all fluffy as around the edges, because the fibres are going to be off it, and it just goes from bad to worse. And you know, aerosols with high temperature coatings, they're nothing like professional ceramic coatings and the finish we get with ceramic coatings. So when this is put back together, no matter what stage, at least it'll have a gasket showing in there. This will be a copper gasket on the top, and it'll look clean. Whether the customer now decides he's taking the engine away now, because obviously I didn't want to really put that back together with a bottom end, because I think a gasket set might be £80–90, and this is a Merlin, so it's a 350 Merlin, so you've got to do a bit of research as well. So when that engine's cracked down, we've also got a big end, get the crank balance, some mains, gearbox bearings, seals. Now a lot of them might be compatible with Bultaco, because it's kind of based on that kind of era and bike. So I'll get on with these, show you that, and then get the final results when they're finished. You know, everything's got to be back to this, so when he comes and collects it, it's ready to start, if he's going to build it himself or someone's going to build it elsewhere for him. The whole idea of this is just saying, sometimes when you're at home and you strip stuff off, and you've been unfortunate, I've been caught out, you bought a bike off the internet, and this is the kind of thing, the money rolls on, and as more pistons come in, more rods come in, more coils come in, more expense comes in. So we're trying to stick to simplicity. Single cylinders are good to start on as a project bike. So we'll get on with these, and let's have a look where we get to with it. Right, so I'm going to show you the head and the barrel, and in a bit I'll do some more photographs just so you can see how they were when they came in. Obviously we've silver foiled all the bore and foamed up everything. I did actually put these in a chemical tank for a while. I haven't shown that, but the reason is, when you've got big fins like this, to get right to the back, it does assist me on that, because though my oxide, again, as I've shown you many times, or if you're new to the channel, it's like talcum powder. It really is. What I do with this, again, I've explained it in the past, it's dry blasting with an ultra fine oxide, but I put a glass in it, a very fine glass. The idea I do that is that when you, I hate the word blasting, but when you blast anything with a low pressure, and you put a bit of glass into it, it just highlights it. So that's the finish as it come out. And many people would like that as a final finish, because you can see close up now. Right, but then what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a vapor blaster net, wet blaster, and bring a shine back to really like, because the customer's decided he doesn't want this painting. Usually a ceramic coat these in a black. But what the glass also does, if you get close up now, it also highlights any bits off. So I'll put this onto a diamond before I put it to the wet blaster, and then just at the side there's a few scars here, so I'll take them out. The customer hasn't asked for this, but it's a showpiece now. And then the sad thing is, this is the one which we discussed, and now you can see it close up. The fin, actually, now everything's cleaned right to the back, look. You can see that fin out, but the customer, the exhaust comes up and hides it. But this just shows you, because it kind of gives you a clue as well, that in this sector 1, 2 and 3 of restoration, you might have a barrel like this, or a cylinder head with a fin off. And as I say, I could rebuild that. And I've said it before, that would keep me awake at night, that kind of problem, because I can repair these, and they're invisible, and micropin them, and put the same finish. Now we've got this back, it's just like a casty finish, so I won't even have to do a latex transfer over that. But if you're going on to your bit high-end building, or you couldn't hide it, or concourse, we can take an old 40-year-old barrel back to any process and have it mint. Another thing I've done is I took the vibration rubbers out and I put them in the ultrasonic tank, Now, sometimes these go rock hard, and I'm going to show on one of my workshop tips on carburettor rubbers, especially on multis, as long as they're not split, how to soak them and bring them back to charge again, just flexi. It's now worse when you're putting multi-bank carbs back on and you're fighting with screwdrivers. They want to just glup on, you know what I mean? So I'll show that in a tip. It's a little trick, but when you get rock hard rubbers on the carb manifolds, it's a way around it, as long as they are leaking and letting any air into them. But yeah, so this next stage now, I'll just flash these over, and just on the edge of this barrel head there, you can probably not see it, but I'll just tidy them up. And then I've got the vibration rubbers to put back in. I've just given them a quick coat of lacquer as well, just a matte lacquer, just to lighten them up a bit. So I'll put them back in to show the final picture. So I'll go back to a bench, I'll just dress them with diamonds a little bit, get them in a vapor blaster and light these up, and then see what it looks like. But as I say, it goes from this finish now, which you'd be well happy with that, to a nice shine. My media, by the way, and I'll keep on going on about media, but I can probably change 3 or 4 times a week in different medias, not only in dry but in glass. And the reason is with vapor blasting, not dry blasting. This is an ultra fine oxide, but I can't have glass media when I'm preparing for ceramic coating. It doesn't take to it. But on wet blasting, as I said, you might have a Laverda, you might have something like an Arley. So the colour in glass depends, because as glass wears down, I can do test swabs and then I get the final colour. So Laverdas and Guzzi, kind of Italian type stuff, is a bit duller, a bit like an enamel carburettor finish, a dull finish, which you use with soda on another machine here. So then you've got your 70s bling, you know, your RDs and your FS1Es cases, and that's what I'm going to do these in. So yeah, so once again, just coming back to it, if you've got anything with a fin off, as I say, I usually don't have the luxury. If I was putting this fin back on, this is at about 4mm, I'm usually down to 2mm, and micro pins, which I use for jet drilling. So that's how fine we're running at. So we'll get these into a wet blaster and then we'll show you a final picture. Right, so everything's out the vapor blaster. As I said before, I put it in there after coming out of a dry blast media. Diamond grinded these up to get rid of them few scars in it. And really that's it. We're from start to finish. You've seen lots of photographs and the processing. It just shows you though, that bad fin I showed you with the smash on it. If you're ever going to look at having anything like that done, for a fin of that size, I mean that was about a 4-inch fin off there. I can remake that, put it on, micropin it, even do a latex transfer as I said here, and that kind of repair would be about £80. Now if you can't get a barrel, you know, this is the kind of thing we'd go to. So this now taken back, and we'll have a close-up view now. It's been vapoured because it's lit it up, all in the fins. The vibration cushions are back in now. I've just lacquered them. Everything's done. Close up of it's really lit it up now. Then we come back to everything we've done. The nasty smash in the casing, zinced, all done, satin, and then we've got the outer clutch cover all done. I've also just faced them back up again, just the gasket sides. There was only one little mark in there, but it might as well done, because when you're building the engine back up now, it's fantastic. I just discoloured that bit, the Cagiva bit, just to offset it a bit. But from casings, especially that one that had been punched right through, as I say, no welding, no adhesion or anything, we've got that back. So, seeing the process, seeing everyone do, I think this has been a good one. The next one will be carrying on hopefully with our TLR 200 workshop build. We've got lots of other things on the car side. There's gearboxes, the engine, there's heads, there's aluminium billet, and you'll see the state of these to how we finish them, so that should be quite interesting. I've got some Ducati casings in with some of the olive green as well, some Land Rover bits in as well, so not only bikes. So I think on this one we'll finish it here. Again, thanks for watching. Your comments have been fantastic. The great thing about all this is I'm getting comments from people saying, what happens if I do this, or can I do part of it, or can I send this to you, or where do you recommend locally to me, which is always great. It's all about saving a few pounds as well, but in this process, when I showed you this one, no matter what you've got, this needed quite a lot of work, believe it or not, because I actually put this in a dipping tank. Years of two-stroke oil going round here, degreasing it all the dirt in the fins, so we kind of put it in a dip tank, then cleaned it, then it went through acetone, gassed it out, dry walnut and oxide, ultra fine like you saw with a bit of glass in it, and then into a vapor blast, diamond grinding to take them marks out of there. Casings punched out, zinc coated, powder coated and powder coated top. So yeah, I mean, this is what the customer wanted, this finish. It's all peen now, so it can go back together. And as I say, any project, any parts, I'll always sample for you. And keep in touch with me, that's fantastic. You can always get me after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because we're based in Scarborough, North Yorkshire, 01723 370 399. And remember, it's your hobby, so look after it. Thanks very much.